All right. Can everybody hear me now? Because I have switched to the game. Is everybody able to hear me? Super weird. All right. Yes, good. Don't sue me, Verizon. Fantastic. All right. That was kind of like what I'm talking about. I had to make some adjustments. I do not have a Stream Deck. I do not have fancy technologies, nor do I have $25 a month to spend on doing all that virtually with those services. So instead, we jerry rig. We make stuff up. But Match Fixin, thank you so much for joining us. Tipshita, once again, thank you so much, and thank you for the birthday wishes. I do appreciate it. I hope you all are doing well. I hope everyone is having a good night tonight. I hope we're having an all right time. I was late. I was late, and so I appreciate y'all coming in. This is a late stream. I do not know how long we're going to be going for tonight, but we're going to be playing Sable. It's genuinely one of my favorite games of 2014. Jesus. 2021. It is a beautiful game. A lot of folks compare it to Breath of the Wild without the combat. It's mostly just an exploration game. The art style is very reminiscent of French comic artist Mobius. I do know that this game sometimes does not look great on stream. So if it starts to kind of like grain up, which already I'm kind of at a disadvantage because I'm at 720p. Trying to do 60 frames a second, but this game, the frame rate in this game is not like 60 frames. It's sometimes variable. So it'll be interesting. But it's also much more chill than Last Judgment, which is what I was going for. So, okay. Thank you very much for the follow, Witch Mallory. I do appreciate you coming in and hanging out. Who am I? That's gonna be where we start. Then I'll get into the game. Arctic Vein, thank you so much for the follow as well. My name is Kyle Holtner. I am the editor, I guess you could call me, of a video game website called No Escape. Just had to verify my account for chat. Oh yeah, I did. I set like a bunch of security settings, so I'm very sorry. That's but hello. So I do appreciate you. I Twitch is like, hey, we can't manage data correctly, so we want you to basically lock your stuff down like it's Fort Knox. And I'm like, this isn't serious. I'm not trying to be a Twitch streamer. Like, this isn't like a whole gig I'm trying to do here. You know? But they're like, we don't care. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. But I do a video game publication website thing. Yeah, they are. They're pushing it a lot more. Because, like, I went into my security settings and they were just like, hey, this needs to be fixed. Do a little video game blog called No Escape with my friends, some of whom are, you know, professional 9-to-5 game writers. Some of them are freelancers. Some of them are amateur writers who just decide, you know, they have an idea. They wanna do stuff. Regardless, it is a place where we look at games in the broader context of the world. And rather than looking at the world through the context of games, which I find kind of limiting, we kind of do the opposite. And, you know, we write about games, we criticize games in the context of an age of conflict, which some folks kind of take that to mean like, oh, you just do culture war stuff. And it's like, yeah, we do some of that, but mostly it's broader, larger themes. We like to think about stuff in an extra way, I guess you could say. Uh, Mostly what I think about Sable is that it's a very pretty game, and y'all should get to see that. So let's actually play. This soundtrack is beautiful. The artist Japanese Breakfast does the soundtrack for Sable, and it is just, it's so lush. It's really nice. So let's get into it. Okay, so far so good as far as frames are concerned. Bitrate doesn't look like it's fucking up too bad. So I drove 200 miles today to go see a friend. 100 miles there, 100 miles back. And I just got home. Yeah, Japanese Breakfast. Who is this game made by? That's a very good question. Give me just a second. Sable game. It is made by Shedworks, published by Raw Fury. Raw Fury being one of the bigger indie publishers, not quite as big as like Annapurna or Devolver, but definitely one of the big ones. Shedworks, I want to say they are a two-person game development studio founded in a garden shed in North London, according to their bio. The design work was done by this guy. Who's his name? What is his name here? Gregorios Kythriotis, who is the creative director at Shedworks, and Daniel Feinberg, who is the technical director. So that's cool. It's a lot of fun. It's very pretty. Let's actually move around in the video game. Let's play the video game, huh? So you kind of notice it gets a little crunchy. It looks crunchy. Like on my screen, it's perfectly smooth, but the bitrate does not. It is not a fan. All right, we got some sounds. How does it sound? How are y'all liking it, sound-wise? I turned, because again, I don't have like an audio situation. I'm doing everything in the Twitch app for the Xbox. And so I had to turn the sound down to like 30%, keeping my microphone up to 100%, just so that y'all can hear me and the game still comes through. Okay, so to set y'all up, because I am pretty far in, this is Sable. Sable is a young person on this desert planet that we are not really sure about. They're part of a nomadic culture who, when you become of age, you get sent on this journey called the gliding. And you get this power, right, where you can kind of float in a bubble, which is pretty neat. And the whole reason that you're going on this gliding is to figure out what you want to do by earning badges. So we got things like the Beetle Badge. I do not know what happens when you earn enough Beetle Badges to become a... I don't know if you have, like, become a beetle. A Cartographer's Badge, so... I have enough badges to actually do this. Basically, I can map the land, which is pretty neat. A climbing badge, which certifies that I love to climb. Guard's badge, machinist badge, and scrapper's badge. Basically, by completing, quests in the game, you earn these badges. And at the end, when you get to the very, sort of last step on your journey, you decide what you want to do with your life. And it's really that simple. Basically, we travel around the world. We have a hover bike. Y'all can kind of see that out there. We meet these little guys. They're called chums. Let's get a chum. They're just little guys. And there's a chum queen that I learned from watching another person stream. You can turn the eggs into, which is kind of wild. But we know that these people are from Earth because this box in a derelict ship somewhere in the desert has serial number, blah, 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 whatever. Designed in London. Which is very, very interesting. Very neat. So I don't know what I was doing in this ship. I'm going to leave. And we're going to kind of just putt around the world and kind of check it out. How's it looking? Very orange, yes. Very desert. And this is kind of what we do. We can kind of aimlessly go around the desert. I mean, there is stuff for us to do. Like, we can check our map and kind of see what there is to see. I've explored quite a bit of it, but not everything. So there was a couple things that I wanted to do with the stream. One was obviously hang out with fun people that I enjoy. So thank you all for fulfilling the first part of my desire tonight, so to speak. The second part was to kind of talk a little bit about what No Escape is and where it came from, and like how we how it came to exist in the world. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. I want to putt around. Looks like we may have dropped a frame. It's completely smooth on my end, but I know what Twitch does to anything interesting. If it's not like photorealistic, it's sometimes just going to get eaten up by the bitrate. So what do I want to do? Let's do our first quest and then figure out what next. Oh yeah, okay. So one of the things that I found in my last playthrough of this game was these rings that you can go through, and they light up when you pass through them. I want to see if I can locate more of them. Or I can just launch myself off my bike. That's also fine. So now we're just going to kind of go in this direction. It's a little bit like Superman 64, yeah. No, it... you know, art house Superman 64. So I think this is a new area, which is demarcated by a line in the sand, literally. What? 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 What was that noise? What was happening? And basically, kind of like in Breath of the Wild, You kind of wander around until you see something cool. Like, what on earth is that in the distance? Oh, there's a derelict ship over there. You know, what could these things possibly be? And it's very neat. I genuinely want to know what's up with that, with the giant dune sandworm. Because it is very dune. There's a guy up there, I think. I don't know what that is. The worm. Like, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I like how games like this play with your expectations of, is that something I can interact with, or just a weird rock? And in the good ones, you're happy with either outcome. Yeah, you know, it's genuinely like, I could take either. Also, like Breath of the Wild, there is a stamina system in this game. And because I didn't find the Chum Queen, I still don't know where it is. I kind of have to figure out which of these weird shape rocks I can climb on. And not completely lose out on stamina. Because I'm pretty sure I cannot get to the top of this guy. Yeah, no. Without having a problem. So, what I've been doing is something like this. Kind of climb into the top of smaller rocks. And let me make sure that my computer doesn't go to sleep completely. There we go. Basically, I kind of jump from rock to rock. I wonder. Oh no, absolutely not. What is that? It's like an old school observatory. Cool. That was expected. Should have counted on that for sure. But yeah, no, so we're just gonna kind of futz around, see what's up. Probably still cannot climb all the way to the top of this, but that's fine. If climbing becomes an issue, I'm gonna go see the Chum Queen. Just to, like, you know, get some stamina here. Oh, hey, and if you lose your bike, which will happen sometimes, you call for it. And it shows up somewhere. Hello? Bike. Oh, see. What is my bike's name? want to come back for this. We will talk to the worm later. There's other stuff. Like, what's this guy over here? Yeah, I want to say it's like Shaheen or something like that, but that doesn't feel right to me. But yeah, it's a very cute game. Oh, I know what we can do. Do y'all see that balloon in the distance? Kind of like a string connecting that little bulbous thing. That is a cartographer, and we can say hi to him, and then we can get a map of the area, and we definitely want that. Also, I saw a tower, one of the towers I've been searching for, so I'm gonna grab that as well, because why not? Sorry about that. Just did not want to cough in y'all's ears. So, let's check this out, right? This is a really interesting, like, game design thing. The stamina that I just described... What's up with the color? The stamina situation that I just described could make this area impossible to be in, right? If every rock looks like the, kind of bulbous and, kind of unclimbable surfaces, then that would mean that until we had enough stamina to get here, we couldn't do anything. Instead, we have this little intentionally built on-ramp to get higher and higher so that we can go say hi to the cartographer. Which rock is it? I think it's that one. Yeah. So it's saying, hey, you know what? You can still be in this area even if you're not fully fledged. You can still at least get a map. And that is one of the things I appreciate about this game. And then, of course, I just immediately can't. Cool. Now, of course, you still have to be, like, somewhat good at video games. That's the thing that I suffer from sometimes. It's just not being good at video games. But it's okay, because it's like these stakes are not so high. And then I get stuck. We're gonna get to this cartographer. We are getting a map. That's sprint, okay. It has been about 87 years since I last played the game. So, I had a hard time remembering what sprint was. So this is obviously not the best place to kind of jump on. So then what is? There we go. Oh, well. Okay. That's fine. Boop. The one thing I will say about this game is that it is very permissive, but it is also kind of like trusting you to learn and grow. Let's see, arches off in the distance. Probably not. This is the first time I've been in this area. So we're going to see. We're going to learn and kind of figure stuff out together. But we're just not messing around. There we go. Boom. Get your stamina up. Why are you so hard to get to? It kind of trusts you to understand, like, where to go, what to do, how to navigate everything. And, I sometimes do not heed clues all that well. So I'm sitting here like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I get into this game? And then I, you know, feel like this is ridiculous. I can't. And then I find out, oh, well, it was actually very easy. And all I needed to do was pay attention to the environment. Again, what a concept. Paying attention to the video game. Alright, now, this might frustrate me. Come on. Can I... Please. Can I please? Please and thank you. Oh, Jesus. Well, it's over here anyway. Got some birds. Got a chum. Check out this little guy. Oh god. That is... No. There we go. It's a chum. Complete 100% friend. Absolute friend. Excellent. Excellent buddy. Alright, let's get his egg. Get their egg. Boop. And it's weird. It's alien, but it's like benign. You know? Like it's not threatening. It's not hostile. It's just it's a guy. It's a little friend. Now, how on earth? Butterfly. What do I do here? How do I beat you? But like, just look at these shapes. We got... Oh, well. Were these the arches you're talking about? Down there? Those guys? Because that is big ribcage looking thing. Okay. So we got that observatory with like a giant statue. And then just the absolute unit over here. Have not been there. Kind of want to go there. Might check that out. I do definitely want to get a map is the thing. So, I think I'm going to painstakingly figure out the best angle of attack for this. Oh, hey, look, a platform. We're gonna get this map. I'm gonna get back down on my bike. And we're gonna get over to those arches. There we go. Or that's fine too. Cool. I do love the this music playing. It's like as I'm getting up to my, you know, childish shenanigans. It's kind of like giving me some flavor. Please. There we go. It's just a very, very atmospheric soundtrack. I do love it a lot. Okay, now. Please, just... Oh, that sucks. Okay. I may have misspoken. It may be... These. It may not actually be possible to get here yet. Which is kind of wild. I haven't experienced that before in this game. Okay. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We got our eyes. That was dope. We got our bike. We got some chalk butterflies. So... here you are, buddy. Let's go to those arches. Let's go to the giant rib cage. Let's see what we got. So most of the people who've landed here on this planet eventually do end up becoming nomadic, and they kind of create their own cultural, like, identities over time. And you get a really good sense of that when you see stuff like the tapestries and the quilts. Oh, perfect. We're at a station. This is excellent. Here's where we can actually trade with people and get quests. Machinists do not start out easily, but this one jumps at my greeting. They give a frantic wave. Machinists Kalon. Glider, yes, good to see you. Meet you? We've never met, I don't think. So yes, good to meet you. I'm Kalon. Kalon rocks back and forth, ball to heel. There is a speedy twitchiness to them, and their emerge like two wind, picking up little stones and twigs as it washes over the dunes. How's your life going? Things are very exciting. Things are a bit challenging. Things are strange. I think things are very exciting. Exciting good! It's very apparent that Kalon barely registered my response. I'd like you to do something if you're free, or, well, if you're not, whatever. I'd like you to do something for me. It'll be a little bit fun, I promise, and it'll earn you a machinist badge. Quick and to the point, see? I know you gliders like that. Speed and things like that. Anyhow, what do you want me to do? Now, I can completely ignore Kalen at this point and just be like, hey, customize my bike. Stop talking at me. You're freaking me out a little bit. Or I can just completely walk away. But I do want this quest. I want to see what this fella's got to say. Well, I want you to receive a machinist badge, and for that I'd like you to, well, report on something of me. Think of it like a mission. Isn't that fun, sort of? I take a breath to speak, but Kalen has no time for it. You'll need to use your head for this one. I want you to go to the watch and take a reading of the sun. You'll find the equipment a bit, well, you know, outdated, underdesigned, cumbersome, archaic perhaps, whatever the word, it all still works. And that's what's important. Take the reading, and if you do it right, the face door in the center chamber will open. Once you've seen what's inside, come back here. Tell me about it. Good? I open my mouth for whatever is the shortest period one can open one's mouth and get no room to speak. Perfect, yes, thank you. And thank me, too, because you'll have more than earned a badge. Go on, see you soon. Can't wait to hear about it. Kalen waves me off. I say goodbye to Kalen. So, that is a taste. I think you can understand, like, why this game has received accolades. And yet, did not get a Best Indie nomination at the Jeff Keighley's Awards. Instead, it is, I think, best new indie title or something like that. It's like some weird, unnecessary secondary indie title. Video games. Here's a guard. Oh, hey! Alright, so I actually know this guard. Well, look who's here, my favorite fellow glider. Funnily enough, I was just thinking about you. This is Guard Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is older, and on this second gliding, right? So they say, like, when you are coming of age and you leave your sort of nomadic group, you go on the gliding. Elizabeth went on a gliding many, many years ago and became a guard for Ecria, I think it's what's called, Ecrian Guard, one of the cities in this desert. And that was her life for like 20 years. And she retired recently and decided to go on her own second gliding, kind of a second seeing the world and not really having a place, but not really needing one or wanting one. Which I think is a very interesting foil to Sable, who is on her sort of coming of age journey and figuring out what she wants to do. I was thinking about you too. Were you? Well, it sounds like destiny to me, or at least a little bit of good fortune, which is frankly good enough. Elizabeth chuckles, hands on hips. I ask her why she was thinking of me. Because I was considering all the things I never got to see on my first gliding. I was in such a hurry to get to Ecria and become a guard that my gliding was more of a piercing. A straight shot to the big city. Before I knew it, I was years along in my path, and I'd never seen Hakoa, never swam in underground lakes, never figured out what's inside a Nemur plant. I don't think I know either. I tell her I don't know what's inside of the Nemur plant either. Well, I'd love to find out. I'm sure I must have passed a few of them when I came through the petrified forest, but it was daylight then, and the sun makes them close right up. Of course, I might just have been too much of a rush to really look. Old habits, huh? Anyhow, excuse me, don't think I'll be making my way back through there anytime soon, sadly. So if you happen to stumble upon one, maybe you could crack it open and let me know what you find. Something's got to be making it glow, right? Something about her drives me to action, and I promise too quickly to show her. I feel compelled to impress her just a little. What? You don't need to do that. Oh, what am I saying? I'm retired. I'm gliding, and I want what I want. Open up a Nemours plant and bring me whatever's inside. And here's hoping it isn't some awful poison slime. I also hope that. This could be sort of fun. I bet that's exactly what it is. I love this stuff. This is the good stuff, right? Games that give you a sense of the world through people's lack of knowledge about the world. Just, it's so good. I love these kinds of games, for sure. I bet that's exactly what it is. I say that it probably is filled with deadly poison and ask if she would like me to forego bringing it back to her if it is indeed the case. Elizabeth laughs. Yes, that might be a bit of a letdown. With my marching orders, I say goodbye to Elizabeth and go along my way. Just simply exceptional. The POV description using a metaphor about the desert wind was really great. Yes, absolutely. My clan has always been in the Wash. We rarely ventured beyond its borders. This is Urgert. They say the chalk mounds are once bones of dead creatures killed by the fall of the whale and left to erode over time. Like, I don't know anything about this world. I know nothing about what's going on. But, like, you hear stuff like that and you want to know. Killed by the fall of the whale. Hell yeah. It's a bit creepy to think about, but the thing that really gives me the spooks is that petrified forest. You can hardly see your hands in front of your face in there. Just exceptional. You love to see it. A little dancing friend. This is Ofu, the innkeeper of the camp. What can I do for you? Fighter, I've got a little job you can do for me. What's the job? Beetles. Cool. Alright, let's get our marching orders and get out of here. So, I think now's a good time to start in on talking about No Escape. So, I have not always been a video game writer. In fact, I have not always really played games. I did when I was a kid, but I didn't really do a lot of it while I was in my teens and my 20s. Like, the last console I had in my childhood was a PlayStation 2, if that says anything. You know, I'm literally just turning 30 today, and my last console as a kid was a PlayStation 2. So, that kind of being the case, like, I kind of missed the whole, like, PlayStation 3, Xbox, like, kind of Xbox 360 generation. I never really, like, got into the games that came out about that time. Where did my bike go is the real question. And, like, even as far as, like, handheld consoles, like, I played a couple of DS games. Like, I think the Pokemon DS games was pretty much all I did. That was all I was interested in, genuinely, as far as games were concerned. And as a writer, I come from the journalism world, which is a bit different from criticism. And specifically, I went to school initially for journalism. what I wanted to be, you know, at 20, 21, 22, was an investigative reporter. And I wanted to make that happen pretty badly. Things did not work out in college, at least on that first go around. And here's what I can do. There we go. I need to buy parts. That's fine. But yeah, no, so college didn't work out. There's a lot going on. And that story is not really super interesting, but, you know, early 20s, I was so certain about what I wanted to do with my life that I couldn't really let go of it when things didn't work out that way. So I ended up writing a bunch of like political commentary and op-eds for like a think tank, like a very small, not very you know, prestigious think tank, but it was a very interesting experience, kind of nonetheless. And I did that for a couple of years, and I mostly wrote about the news. Like I wrote criticism about the news and used a kind of, I guess you would say, like a narrow definition of media criticism to kind of think about that. And I did that until about 2017, and it was, you know, obviously around this time that like politics got shitty, and well, not just at that time got shitty, but you know what I mean. Like politics like kind of ramped up, and I got burnt out. So I still wanted to write. I knew what I like. That was ultimately something I wanted to do, but I did not know about what. At this time, I'm kind of living out on my own, and I decide, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get a 2DS. A big upgrade, right? From the original DS. I'm gonna get a 2DS. And that is how I kind of got exposed to games like Omega Ruby, the Pokemon Ruby remake, and Bravely Default. Kind of got me back into games. And that's also kind of how I started writing about games, was my connection to the DS. I actually wrote for this place that doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't actually like have my story up at this point, called Nintendo News. Not Nintendo Life, which is a completely different thing, but Nintendo News. And it was not a good time. Like, if you have ever wondered like what some places will, you know, sort of ask of brand new writers in this, you know, video game space, this was one of the places that I would call a content mill. Basically, they would find stories done by actual journalists, people who were, you know, cultivating sources and doing interviews and actually writing, you know, stories, and we would quote unquote aggregate their stories. And I knew enough, like, you don't want to actually plagiarize anybody, but paraphrasing an article is still kind of like not great. Like, you don't, this is not done. You don't want to do this. And I did this, I think, once. I wrote one piece, maybe two. One was about the kind of like the future of Pokemon Go, which had just come out, and another was about not Stellaria. It's not Spelunky either. Golly. Almost sneezed. It's real goofy. What am I supposed to do here? I have no idea. This is weird. Okay. I did 2 of these articles where I was basically paraphrasing another writer's work, and I was like, no, this is if I'm gonna write about video games, there's got to be a better way, and so I kind of stopped. Like, didn't really pursue it much further. An orrery. That's what I'm thinking. I have no idea how to operate this. I like. Genuinely, the machinist is like, "Hey, go do this thing." I get to this thing, and I'm like, "Oh wait, I'm like 12 in the game. How do I operate this heavy machinery?" But yeah, so that was my first experience writing about video games. It was not great. I did not have a good time in that particular place. And so I waited, and I kind of decided to, like, okay, well, I can still, write about games myself. Like a lot of people do. I started a blog, actually, started something on Medium. What the fuck? Hello? Excuse me? Genuinely confused. And I gave it a couple years. When I came back, neat. When I decided to get back on the horse and start writing about games again, I got linked up with this site called New Normative. And this is a very tiny game site, but they were like, hey, you know what? Like, we want to pay you. It won't be much, but we can at least offer you something, because we have a Patreon that is very nice, and we will give you money to write about video games. And at first, I did some news stories for him and learned SEO. Please let me up. There we go. And I did that for about a year. At the end of this year, this was in 2018, at the end of that year, I kind of wasn't feeling it. They had me chasing this story that was kind of just not really worth it. And, okay, maybe games writing isn't for me then. And that is where we actually get to the origin of No Escape. Now, to be very clear, the reason I started No Escape is because I was mad at another writer. And I do not recommend that is how you, start a video game vlog of any kind. But it was February 2019, and this website called The Escapist had returned, right? So if you're familiar with The Escapist, they were very popular in the early to mid 2000s, towards the late, end of the 2000s into the early 2010s. They kind of became this, I don't want to say cesspool, but it was definitely they attracted a very specific crowd of gamer. And then the literal alt-right publisher of The Escapist sold the magazine, or maybe I think they went bankrupt. They were disconnected from The Escapist, and the old editor-in-chief, Russ Pitts, came in and with a publishing company bought The Escapist and kind of decided to set it on its course for version 2 of The Escapist, so to speak. This was considered to be kind of a weird move, but nobody was super like against it until February 2019. Russ Pitts, who had started a anti-bullying company with or like charity kind of thing, nonprofit with Zoe Quinn, who was one of the sort of principal targets of Gamergate. Basically, he wrote this article that was like, Gamergate is, you know, Gamergate is terrible, it was awful, but maybe it had some good points. And I'll just say this. If you've seen the meme that is just sort of a screenshot of Fallout 4, everyone disliked this, that's kind of what happened. I don't know. I have no the fuck idea what I'm supposed to do here. This is fascinating. Basically, Pitts wrote this op-ed that's like, hey, maybe journalism, you know, in the game space is fucked up, but maybe Gamergate was correct, and people did not like this. I was also in that group. I did not enjoy this nonsense at all. And so I got onto Tumblr, of all places, and started noescapevg.tumblr.com, the very first incarnation of the website that I have run now for 2.5, 3 years, almost 3 years. Was started out of spite, because basically I thought, you know, I do not, you know, Pitts made a lot of claims. He was like, you know, games writing should be completely neutral, and it should be made in the mindset of only ever something that, you know, we talk about the positives of games and not the negatives. We never discuss, you know, like, not that we never discuss it, but like, we should always try to focus on the positives of games and not on the problems that, you know, are endemic to its industry. And I just did not agree. I did not like this, and I did not like the fact that, like, you know, a supporter of Quinn's, who, you know, had come out and said, like, Gamergate was definitively bad, and was also saying, oh, well, but we can't have politics in games. We cannot make games political, because we all like them. We all want to escape. And so my thesis was there is no escape. And that is genuinely how I came up with the name. It is how I came up with the concept. And I'm happy to say, 3 years later, I am no longer running this website based entirely on spite. Like, I am no longer just spitting mad at some random website for no reason. It's much more nuanced and sort of different from that than, you know, the reason that I'm here now. So, you know, sometimes good things do come out of, you know, negative emotions and negative moments. Because I will say this, I have enjoyed every moment that I have been writing for No Escape. I've enjoyed every person who's contributed to No Escape. I've enjoyed getting to do, you know, reviews, getting to, you know, think about games, kind of discovering the career that I want to follow. And I'm happy that I get to share that with you. Egg. Chum egg. Okay. What have I done? Where is my bike? we have done a lot of nothing, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this game, because we have done basically fuck all for an hour. And having kind of told the story, you know, there's not much to it. I do think what I want to do is get to some arches, do the arch thing, and then maybe come back to this tomorrow. Maybe do like a kind of early afternoon matinee. I think that's what I want to do. Get a matinee going. Get some more people in here. Have a time in the afternoon as opposed to fucking 1 a.m. And maybe, you know, kind of repeat this, but also kind of like, you know, riff on it a little bit, talk about some other stuff. I think that's what we're gonna do. And maybe we'll start a new game. I don't know.